My name is Tom Stites.
My name is Bill Orendorff.
I tell you, I'm delighted to be here today because when I was a junior higher, trying to play junior high black diamond football, there was a guy in the senior high that was kind of my idol, and Bill Orendorff. I chose your number too. I wore your number.
I appreciate
After
that.
There was nobody in between you and me that and I got in there and got it.
I might have worn it out. I don't know.
You might have worn it out. It was, matter of fact, I guess this would be as good a time as any. I've had this for the last 48 years. And I think you and I both wore this jersey.
I think you're exactly right. I think we did wear it out, don't you think?
I think most of the holes in the patches are your hits. Mine weren't quite as strong, but I don't think either one of us could get in this thing now.
I was just going to say, I don't know how it ever got into that.
With some pads too.
But
anyway, I was proud to wear the number 34. Bill was our second consensus All-State player from Sallisaw here, and so I had to fight a guy pretty hard to be able to get this number when I was a freshman after Bill graduated. So we're going to give this to the cause here, and they're going to put it in the display.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah,
we appreciate that. We're proud to wear the black and orange.
That's it, black and orange too. Well, now I think you graduated. You said in 69.
Mm-hmm.
So your last year as a black diamond would have been the fall of 68.
Yes.
So that's when you were chosen on the All-State team. What are some of the memorable things you remember about your senior year?
Well, the senior year was pretty exciting. I mean, we got off to a pretty good start, and we had several big games. I think the Poto game early on, I think they had not lost. I think at that time they had a couple of All-Staters on their team, and that was a big game for us. And then I think Stillwell, they were undefeated. I think that was about our fourth game, and I think they were undefeated when they came in. So there was a lot of hoopla about that. We played Muskogee Manual that year, which I don't know how much we played them after that, or how long they were still together. But had some great games. And of course, the Spiral game was the huge game on our schedule. And
were the Schultz brothers still there during your day?
I think the Steele brothers were there. Yeah, the Steele brothers were there, and they were pretty tough. We had an exciting game. The weather was horrible, but we came out on top. And I know Sallisaw, the whole town of Sallisaw was there. I mean, literally the whole town of Sallisaw. Back when we played, that was football was. It was on Friday night, and we filled the stadium, and they filled the end zones, and everywhere they could put a person, that's where we had people.
I remember that. The Friday nights, if it was an away game, there was nothing in town.
Oh, exactly.
Everybody was gone. It was a big caravan that went every away game. So who were some of your senior fellow players in your class?
Well, of course, Eric Benson was a co-captain. He and I were captains, and we had Lee Sharp, we had Dennis Cheek. We just had a bunch of great Marion Fair. I don't know whether you remember Marion.
Yep.
We had just a lot of great players, and we got the most out of them. I mean, I was always kind of funny. My linemen, I think my guards were about 155 or 165 pounds, and I was 210 at the time. So it was kind of funny watching them block for me, but they did a great job of it.
Oh yeah, too. Now Steve Davis would have been a year or two behind you.
But he was on the team. In fact, he kicked the extra points in the Spiral game. And considering the weather, that was an accomplishment in and of itself. He kicked the game-winning extra points because we won 14-12, and those two extra points were the difference.
Yeah. Well, I remember now that you mentioned Eric. That Benson family, a lot of those boys played.
Oh, absolutely.
Played ball, and Eric was. I guess Mike was the older one, and Eric too. So I remember watching Eric run track meets, and said it was just fun to watch him.
Yeah, I think he was our offensive tackle and tight end. I think our senior year, and I think he ran a 10 flat 100 at that time. And
he had school record for a lot of years.
For an offensive tackle, that's pretty impressive.
Definitely is too. Well, now was Perry Floyd? Was he when did he come during your time in high school?
No, he was already there,
Already there?
and
Okay.
he came
He was
and
a molder before that.
And he was a builder. He really he did things, I guess, a little bit ahead of his time in terms of weight training. He insisted on weight training, an off-season program. He did things that were a little bit innovative, and at least at the time. And he was just a fine coach. I mean, everybody loved playing for him. He was enthusiastic and hated to see him go.
Was John Gray one of the? Okay.
John Gray was an assistant, and he was also a track coach at that time.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, he was an intense guy too, from what I remember from junior high.
Oh
too.
yeah, definitely.
Harry Floyd could definitely get in your face, but
I can remember several stories about him.
We used to joke you wanted to be at least a little this far away from him when you were talking. You were talking to him because you definitely get a back spray.
Yeah, he definitely would get your
excited.
attention.
Yeah, for sure, too. So, what do you? Some of the things you think about you took away from being a Black Diamond and playing in those days. It was a feel of community that
it was. That's that's a different times now. I mean, there's so many distractions for young kids these days. The participation in football probably is down considerably, and there's just so many things that pull them away from the community. But back then, I mean, it was kind of like watching an old movie. I mean, you know how the whole town was literally behind you. I mean, the free haircuts. I mean, stuff like that. That the players used to get, and it was just a different time, but it was special. It's something you can look back on and kind of feel comforted by when you think about the Black Diamonds.
And you think about it too, some of the different coaching styles that have changed, from those days and even in my days, 2 days in water, and it's totally different now, and probably a better way, but you remember.
Well, it was pretty intense. It was kind of an in-your-face kind of coaching style, although I got a little bit of that at OU too. So,
I'm sure you did.
So that didn't change too much, but we had a lot of respect for our coaches, and we knew that they really cared for us. So it wasn't that difficult to tolerate.
What OU coach recruited you? Was that Fairbanks?
Jerry Pettibone was the main recruiter. He's the one that made initial contact with me, and then speaking of that, of course, as things went further along in the recruiting process, I know the head coach Chuck Fairbanks came down, and I think we had a wrestling match. And so, with Coach Fairbanks and Coach Pettibone, when they showed up in the gymnasium down there at the middle school, it was pretty impressive. I think the town really took note of that, and it was neat for the town.
Well, was Fairbanks your coach all the way through OU, or was did Switzer?
He was. Switzer was the offensive coordinator back then, and so he was really. I played under him since I was an offensive guard, and he was a pleasure to play for. I mean, he's what you see is what you get with. Coach Switzer.
And we may have to edit this out if I don't. 64 was that your number at OU?
64
okay, all right.
was my number at OU. Yes.
Like I said, I kept a big follow on you. I wondered, why you didn't take up 34 up there, but I guess it wasn't available.
No, well, when I went from fullback to offensive guard, that kind of changed that situation.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know you made a lot of young boys want to be fullbacks, and so
oh yeah,
I was one of those too. What was probably the most exciting or meaningful, single game, as when you were?
Spyro, no question about it, because they were such a rival at that time, and we had, back then we played Vian, and obviously that was a huge game on our schedule, and they always played us tough, and we always had a tough time with them. So, as far as local rivalries, that was probably the big game, but with all at stake, with both teams being undefeated and playing at Spyro in bad weather, that was just a memorable game. And I can still remember the time ticking off the clock. I think we got the ball back with a few seconds left, and just a matter of counting the time off. In fact, I can tell a story about my older brother. He along with other people, where the whole town was on the sideline at the time, and I think when we got the ball back, he thought the time had run out, so he comes running out onto the field, and he said after the fact he thought the whole town was behind him, but there was a few seconds left on the clock, and the official didn't appreciate him coming out there on the field, but we still laugh about that on occasion.
Oh gosh, that's good. That's good too. Well, listen, we sure appreciate you coming in and joining us for this video, and gosh, I appreciate you being my hero when I was in junior high, and I was proud to wear the 34, and I was more proud to wear the black diamond.
Hey, once a black diamond, always a black diamond. That's for sure.
It never changes. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Is there any more? I'm sorry. You got any other stories you want to?
No, that probably would cover it. I think
that Spiral game. I was there. I was just a little tired too.
Yeah, it was.
I bet my dad was one of your teachers during that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Math teacher.